Subscribe for the latest in boxing, guys. On Saturday, mate, it comes to an end. It really does. For the first time in your whole career, you are actually fighting for your whole career. Not even injuries saves you this time. David, for the first time in your whole career, you are going to walk to the ring and think, if this goes wrong, nothing can save me. And let's not mix it up. I've done this 5-6 times, and I know the pressure that brings to you. I know the kind of atmosphere that can generate, and you're in a lot of trouble Saturday, mate. You really are. Before the last fight, I never needed to hate David Haye. I never needed to. He's got this belief I was trying to wind him up. I wasn't. I just told him a few truths. The fact of the matter is, David isn't back to win world titles. David is the man who's back to rob the bank. He's trying to do with as little risk as possible. The mistake that he made is he picked this little fat cruiserweight scouser with a mouth to try and make that against, because he thought that was an easy fight. If David was really back for world titles, he would have just got on the phone with Al Heyman and his advisors and made the fight with Deontay Wilder. But the sad fact of all of it is David wants to fight crabs and little fatties. And the bad thing is I fall into that category of little fatty. I can accept it. Like I said, I'm a realist. I'm not a fantasist. David is living a fantasy. If he believes he can become undisputed heavyweight champion of the world because on Saturday night David gets his ass wrecked and put back in his box, and that's how it's going down. So that is what former cruiserweight champion and now current heavyweight contender Toney Bellew had to say. He said a few interesting things here. He said that David Haye never wanted to really fight for a world title, and he said that when David Haye fought him, he picked Toney Bellew because he thought in his mind, David Haye thought in his mind that this was going to be an easy fight. And he said that if he really wanted to fight for a world title when he made his comeback, because if you guys remember, when David Haye made his comeback, he was coming off a 4-year layoff. He had now fought since he beat Derek Chisora, Del Boy, back in 2012. And he was coming off a 4-year layoff, and he was fighting against bums. He was fighting against guys like Mark DeLorme, basically guys that are bums, low-level guys you never heard of, guys that me and you never heard of. And then all of a sudden, Toney Bellew was talking a lot of smack, and he ends up fighting him. So Toney Bellew was saying that he could have easily gotten the phone with Al Heyman and made the Deontay Wilder fight happen, but instead he was just fighting bums because he was trying to make easy paydays. And if you remember, he was getting paid like $1 million. He got paid like $1 million to fight Andrew, Janjaya, to fight these bums. So of course, if you're at David Haye's position, you're fighting these bums and you're making money, and you're fighting these low-level guys because you're a name, right? And David Haye is a name. So Toney Bellew was saying that David Haye never intended to fight for a title, and he's just basically he says that he's robbing the bank. He's basically milking it, right? He knows he's getting these big $1 million paydays fighting these easy nobody cab drivers, and he says that he felt that Toney Bellew believes that when he handpicked him, Toney Bellew, the bomber, he did it because he thought to himself, I'm gonna make a lot of money and it's a no risk fight. And I agree with Toney Bellew. I do believe that David Haye picked Toney Bellew because he thought he perceived Toney Bellew as an easy fight. He thought it was gonna be an easy fight. Toney Bellew is a cruiserweight coming up in weight, and he's not a big puncher, and he's not the most talented guy. So I do believe that David Haye cherry picked Toney Bellew, and it was a cherry pick gone wrong, because he ended up, pulling his leg, and he ended up losing to Toney Bellew. And I do agree with what Toney Bellew had to say. Toney Bellew said that if David Haye loses this fight against Toney Bellew, his career is over. And I agree with that. If David Haye loses against Toney Bellew, his career is over. He's 38 years old now. He's up there in age. He's really past his prime. And if he can't beat Toney Bellew, he has no business fighting for a world title, because if he can't beat, no disrespect to Toney Bellew, but Toney Bellew is no great fighter. But if you can't beat him, he's like a mediocre fighter at best. If you can't beat him, you're not going to beat Anthony Joshua, and you're definitely not going to beat Deontay Wilder. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to beat Joseph Parker either. I know he's not champion anymore, but you're not going to beat him either. And you're not going to beat Dillian White. You're not going to beat none of these heavyweights. Anyway, guys, that's all I have to say, and subscribe for daily boxing videos, guys.